Okay, good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started here. My name is R.H. Richards. I'm the owner and founder of LMS, Loan Mitigation Services. We're a short sale processing company. We'll look at that as well, but we know the market is we know the market isn't like 2021, so I'm here to kind of explore or expose an opportunity for you that was once upon a time back in 08. And if you don't know what's going on in your market, only use history as a guide because it's a market, it goes up and down, and we're back down or on our way down again. So gonna expose a big opportunity for you. I do events statewide to a bunch of different brokerages, so I'm all over the place. Okay. Who had their license in 08? Who is familiar with short sales? Just two? Okay, fair enough. All right. How familiar?
I worked in the mortgage industry from 2001 till 2008. Then I saw no LTV, I couldn't push my appraisers any harder, and
Okay, but in terms of real estate, you were involved in short sales.
Yeah.
Okay, how about you?
I was buying,
You're what?
trying to buy short sales.
Okay,
Buyers.
okay,
Have a couple of rental properties.
yep, okay, good.
Trying to-
Okay, fair enough. All right, well, I know most of this because I was a buyer as well, which we'll touch on. Guys, the stats are not good, right? 2024, 2025, and I know you are, I'm not in the retail side of the real estate space, never have been. Always been the investor side. But I already can tell you what your office looks like. There's a few closings here and there going on, but you're more popping champagne like 2021, okay? Because 2021, you were making money for just turning a doorknob. You really weren't that good at real estate. You turned a doorknob and you got paid for it. Let's be honest. But now we're in 2025 and everyone kind of feels like loser Larry here, right? So the goal is to get back to 2021 paydays. And so that's why I'm here. If you don't think we're in a real estate market crash, you're wrong. We're probably in the second or third inning. Despite what the media or NAR or anyone is telling you, we are in a real estate market crash. Okay. I was there in 08. I saw it. There's a lot of similarities. So don't get it twisted. You're here. It lasts anywhere from 3 to 5 years. And some of the top authorities, the top financial gurus are saying that it could last 7 years. Unlike falling off the table last time, it's going to be a slow, long, drawn out burn. So what you need to do is you need to prepare your business. You need to make a pivot, right? You need to figure out like, okay, how are we going to start kicking butt again in real estate? Because yeah, that was me in 2006. And quickly after that in 2008, I was loser Larry. Okay. So I've been in your shoes. All right. I don't do real estate like I used to, but I've been where you are now. And I'm just telling you, like, that was me. So let's get some perspective here. From 2009, 2015, nationwide, you had almost 6.5 million foreclosures. All right. In the state of Florida, you had over 1 million. All right, from 2009 to 2015. And excuse me, this is why I'm here. Because right now, a lot of homeowners are receiving what's called a notice of foreclose or lis pendens. Okay, that's the technical term. A lis pendens, which is an intent to foreclose. Now, that can come from an HOA or what have you, but in most cases, it's from the lender in the state of Florida. And you can help because right now sellers are feeling the pain and you can propel your business by helping them. So today's discussion, we're going to talk about what is LMS and who am I, the current Florida and US real estate market, what the oracles are saying, the financial gurus, what happened? Well, it's always the economy. And riches are in the niches, your big opportunity. And then we're going to talk about short sales 101, the process and how you get involved. Okay. So who's LMS? Well, we're a professional short sale processing service. Okay. We're a company that helps listing agents. We're a B2B company, business to business. We deal directly with listing agents who come upon a home seller who is in pre-foreclosure, cannot pay their mortgage and can't sell because chances are their home is not worth what they owe on the mortgage. So there's a vehicle called a short sale that allows them to sell for less than what is owed on the mortgage. So listing agents can still list a property, get a listing and make 3% commission on a property that normally wouldn't sell in the regular market. Makes sense? It's a plan B. It's an amazing plan B. And Some of you, maybe not you, but 1 or 2 degrees away from you and your team know you have a listing with another price drop. That homeowner's bringing money to the table to close, right? And in some situations, your colleagues around here may have a listing where the seller's already bringing $10,000 or $20,000 right now to walk out, to get out the mortgage, okay? So instead of doing that, there's a vehicle called a short sale. They can sell it for less than what's owed. They don't have to come out of the pocket 20 grand. We're 100% free service for you and your clients, okay? We understand your clients don't have hardly 2 nickels to rub together, and we want to keep your marketing and business expenses down. Now, we'll touch on this, but we get the lender or the buyer to pay our processing fee. All right, so for you, I bring about 700 files. I would argue that I'm an expert in the short sale foreclosure space. So you get a company that is professional, a ton of experience, right? We're totally certified, which I'll show you that. We're short sale experts. We're a free service for you. All right. Our LMS team, a real estate brokerage owner or licensees just like you, and we're all CDPE certified. So we're certified distressed property experts. Okay. That is pretty much the gold standard in real estate with respect to short sales. Think of us like a quarterback. Okay. We're calling the plays and you're helping us run them, and we're running a majority of the plays, but we do client agent consultations. Okay. So if you have a client right now that is on the verge of going underwater, schedule a consult. That's with me, a 30-minute phone call. I can do that with you and or your seller. Okay. I will smooth everything out, explain everything, put your sellers at ease, and we will get a new listing agreement. I'll help you get a new listing agreement signed, a short sale. Or if you have a regular sale provision listing agreement right now, I'll help you convert that to a short sale. Okay, because a lot of listings right now may seem like they're going to be canceled because you can't sell them, or the seller owes too much and they can't pay. All right, well, instead of canceling that listing, change the sale provision from a regular sale to a short sale. All right, let's get it out there and sell it for less than what's owed on the mortgage. Guys, we handle all lender communications, so we are the point of contact with the lender. No one else, not your seller anymore. We handle all phone calls. We'll provide you listing guidance. Like I said, we're brokerage owners, we're licensees. Okay, so we'll handle all the file management, coordination, document prep, the lender package. Some of you probably don't understand or know what that is. That's not important. Let us do the heavy lifting. We will provide some oversight on the BPO appraisal part of the process, and we'll provide timely updates. Here's what we do. You have a client. You schedule a consultation with me. We jump on a phone call. That's you running the ball out to the 5-yard line. Okay. Then we run it all the way down the field. We do everything. Okay. And then we call you back on the field because you have a closing, you score a touchdown. Everyone celebrates you. And we want that. We want you out there shaking hands, kissing babies, looking like the all-star. We're the engine behind the curtain. Okay. So this is me. Look, back in 2005 and 2006, things were good. You see the chart going up. Things were good. And then 2008 came and things weren't so good. And I learned a lot because I was in foreclosure. I was in pre-foreclosure. I lost properties. Okay. And, but I moved to Florida, and in 2009 we opened a brokerage and we started chasing distressed assets, buying distressed properties. And we started that brokerage and we had about 40 to 60 closings a month. Now, I will tell you the largest real estate teams in Winter Park and elsewhere were closing their shops. The teams were decimated, closing down because they had no business. And unfortunately, that's going to happen again today. So you've got to learn how, and listen, I hired, trained, and managed teams of like Navy SEALs, go-getters, like to go find properties and right. So I manage these guys. I know what it's like to not only just perform at a high level, but to change your way of thinking. Like you have to think outside of retail real estate. If you're playing with a retail real estate golf club right now, and you're going to only rely on that, there's not going to be many balls to hit, right? You're not hitting many balls right now. I already know that. One of you might be kicking ass, but for collectively, you want more, right? We know this. So you have to put the retail golf club away and get the investor golf club, the distressed asset golf club out of the bag. And now there's a ton of balls out there to hit. Okay, so you got to start thinking like that. Now, you can go 100% in the distressed asset space, the investor side of the space, right? Or you can do both. You can just supplement the retail business that you felt you've lost since 2021. And then when the market rebounds 3, 5, 6, 7 years from now, you're back in retail, right? And you can put the investor distressed asset club away. It's up to you. But if you're not learning, you're not earning, right? And if you're out there playing with one club, the game's changing, right? So you have to be thinking with a different club. All right, so yeah, we bought and sold over 1,500 properties in Orlando. Our holding companies took title to those, and we wrapped those up and sold those to investors. Many were short sale buys. About 450 of those 1,500 were short sales. So again, guys, I know it. Well, I'll show you this. My short sales are as a buyer, right? Kick butt as an investor in those, a brokerage owner, listing agent, selling agent, negotiator, processor, and a seller. So I know it from every angle, the good and the bad and the ugly. All right. So it's one thing to say, yeah, I've done all this, but at the same time, I don't have enough pride to sit there and say, oh, like I didn't get smashed as well, right? I got crushed by the market. So yeah, I would say I'm a short sale expert because I know it unfortunately from every angle. So let's talk about the real estate market. We know like inventory was next to nothing and prices went up 30, 40, 50%. In some areas in the country went up 100%. Okay. And remember when they said the market is great, we just need more inventory. Who heard that? Who heard that? Right? Come on. Like, I mean, that was like the big catchphrase. It's like, oh man, the market's great, we just need more inventory. Well, we got more inventory. You can see that it spiked up. And how'd the market respond? Crickets. There's a lot of inventory out there right now, right? And where are the buyers? Well, we're going to talk about but it's the economy. Okay. But then they said, well, it's, we got inventory, just wait. It's the rates, of course, just wait for rates to go down. Then it's going to shoot to the moon. Well, guys, last year rates fell almost a full point and the market didn't even feel a blip. It did nothing to the market. So if rates went down again, a full point, 2 points, I don't know what it's going to do for you out there. Okay. Last July was the lowest on record in terms of sales in the history of our country. Last July, 2024, the lowest sales in July. Last year as a whole was the lowest in 30 years. Okay. So if anyone around you wants to tell you it's good and it's going to be popping like tomorrow, it's not. Okay. Get ready, right? Everyone needs to grab a raincoat. The storm's here. Overall, this is what our MLS inventory looks like. Look, a ton of homes are 100+ days on the market. And we know what that means. That's pucker time, right? Your client's like, what's going on? You said this is a good list price. We did a price drop. What's going on? And now they're thinking about canceling, right? Because we know that's probably hitting like a 90, 180 day mark, what have you. Then you got all these price drops. You're like, oh, if we just drop it, 10 grand, we'll probably find a buyer. And then it was crickets. They're looking at you, right? And then 25% are back on the market. So for those contracts that get executed, back on the market, right? Buyers are not performing. They're not happy with their financing. Maybe not happy with the inspections, what have you. So the current situation, yep, right, that's us. We touched on this. This is a repeat slide, but 71% without a closing, and this year 90%. Redfin just came out May 29th. That wasn't long ago. 500,000 more sellers than buyers will likely cause home prices to fall. Likely? No, they're already dropping, right? Significantly. And here's pretty much what happened, guys. When home prices go up 50, listen, if you ever get into another real estate market 10 years from now, whatever, and home prices go up 50% and incomes only go up 5, whoa, pump the brakes, right? You go to the grocery store and things go up another 50%, you're probably not going to put that in the cart, right? And that's just what's happening. So we know that incomes aren't going up 45%. So what needs to come down to find synergy again in the market, right? Home prices need to come down. So this is just basic economics right here. Okay. So guys,
Wait now,
no, you're good. Come on in.
but we're staying friends.
You're what? Oh yeah, that's right, man. Good. Yeah. Okay. The hat. I get it. That's right. We are state friends. All right. So we're in a down market. All right. Again, this is supply demand 101. when there's no retail demand by buyers, supply is gonna go up. Okay, and the only way, again, to find synergy in the market is for prices to come down. If you go to your grocery store and eggs are now $10 a dozen, okay, you're probably not gonna buy. You're waiting for those to come down to 6 or 7. Okay, so those need to come down. April, this past April, the market dropped just over half point. Now, on its face, you'd be like, oh, that's not a big deal. But when you analyze that over a year, it's 6.6%. Okay, that Florida home prices are dropped. And you spread that out over 5, 6, 7 years, you're talking about it could equate to 30, 35% drop in equity. Remember, prices back in 08, they dropped in, between 08 and 12, they dropped over 50%. Over 50% at peak value. Okay. So 27 of 50 states have experienced a home value decline, all right, in April. So this isn't, again, the media is like, oh, it's super localized. It's just to certain markets. No, it's happening. Like it's spreading like crazy right now. So again, don't get it twisted, guys. Second, third inning of a housing market crash. You are here. All right. But let's go down memory lane a little bit. Okay. We have to look at like 2008 because again, if you don't have answers, let's use history as a guide. In 2008, the top of the market, or when the market started falling to peak was December of 2006. Okay. And it took 5 years to get to the bottom. Now, our June of 2022 was our peak. And again, that could take 5, 7 years. So we have a ways to go. Okay. We see what happened last time. Jacksonville dropped, home prices dropped 40%. Tampa dropped 49%. Miami 52%. And Orlando led the charge with 53%. Okay. So don't think that Orlando's insulated or we're, Disney and we're all happy and bad things can't happen. No, it can't. And it can happen again. So yes, we are in a down market. And 5 years to the bottom could put us, if we're using history as a guide, could put us 2027, 2028. But again, like I told you, a lot of the financial gurus are saying this is a longer, slower burn, could push out to 29, 30. Okay, so you have to prepare for that. So are we headed for another 08? Well, it could look and sound like one. But I know a lot of you, right? And many, because I follow this, many have arguments. And they're like, oh, well, high equity, great. Migration, tighter underwriting. So let's look at the high equity. Well, guys, and we're going to touch on the economy, but when everyone is feeling the pain, not just buyers, but sellers, and they don't have any cash, where's their cash right now? In their real estate, right? And they need to get a hold of that. So they need to sell, and there's no buyers, right? And then when home prices fall, they owe too much on their mortgage. Now their equity's gone, right? So like there's a nasty game going on out there. But already nationwide, guys, we've lost over $300 billion in equity since the second quarter of 2022. Now, this is important to note because million, billion, and trillion, those terms get used interchangeably, like almost loosely to where I was like, oh, it's a billion, no big deal now, right? No, it is a big deal. Because if you were to count to 1,000,000 by 1 second, it would take you 11 days, long time. If you were to count to 1 billion by 1 second, it would take you 35 years. So when there's a B on it, it's a big difference. And when there's a T on it, trillion, that's 35,000 years to count to it by 1 second. So we've already lost 300 billion. All right. And you can see what we felt 2.5 trillion back in 08. All right. Now I'm making this comparison to 08 because I'm going to show you some economic data that is significantly higher in terms of pain than it was in 08. So look at the numbers in 08, and we're going to kind of correlate that to now. You can see what's going on in terms of home pricing drops in Florida right now. Tampa, Jacksonville, Orlando are top 5 out of the whole country, right? I mean, those are pretty significant listing price drops, right? Migration, guys, everyone's like, oh man, Florida's amazing. People love moving here. That's a great story again. But the zip codes with the highest migration now have the highest number of vacant homes. Those who came have now left. Okay. And we've seen it before in 08 happen. Look at the migration back before 08, right? Kind of looks very similar today, doesn't it? Right. So when they say, oh, migration is going to save us, let's pump the brakes. All right. And then tighter underwriting. And I was like, oh, lending's a lot tighter than it was back in 08. And that's true, because back in 08 we had ninja loans. All right, we're gonna look at the auto industry because they did ninja loans this go around, but they didn't do ninja loans, which is no income, no job, no assets. All right. But still, 1.7 million homes since 2019 were written with 5-year arms. All right. Now, 5-year arms, that was due last year. We're in 2025. Now, in this article, this lady's mortgage went up. It went up $2,000 because the arm hit. So how many people of the 1.7 million homes, when their mortgage goes up $2,000, are going to continue paying? Not many, right? Is that fair to say? Okay, good. So we know these are all going to be people who throw in the towel, right? And that's your opportunity to get in front of these homeowners. Here's an article. It's worth reading if you want to see what the Biden administration was doing with FHA and bailing out homes. You know what we know, again, I'm in the foreclosure space. And I track all these pre-foreclosures, all these Liz pendants notices going out. And I see them by the thousands. And I'm like, okay, where are the REOs? Why aren't these coming? Like we know, like I would go to, like I've been speaking for 2 years, right, doing this. And everyone's like, oh, I'm just not seeing it. I don't see the foreclosures. I don't see it on the MLS. Well, if you read this article, you'll find out that there are some people getting loan modifications up to 10 loan mods, like stated. It was crazy. So you couldn't afford your mortgage, they'd call you like, hey, we can do a loan mod. Okay, awesome, right? For 2,500. Well, now you stop paying. Now they default on that. And then the bank calls back and says, hey, can you do 2,400? And it's just stated. Then it became ninja. Then they're like, yeah, I can do that. Okay, great. Second loan mod, third loan mod. Here's the problem. With every loan mod, they became late on their mortgage, right? Let's just say they fell back on their mortgage $18,000. Well, that $18,000, they put that in a small HUD loan on the back of the loan. And guess who paid for that? All of us, US taxpayer dollars. That's where our taxes are going, to bail out homeowners who couldn't afford the mortgages they got into. And we all know that FHA loans, hardly any skin in the game. What, 59% DTI? That's crazy, right? And we're funding that. So none of you would fund a situation like that on your own investments, but we're forced to do it here. So that's what's going. This article touches on that, kind of the slimery that happened behind the scenes.
Do you think that forbearance also pushed it out, like delayed that process of foreclosures?
Yeah, but that ended a long time ago, but that's when the forbearance ended, then loan mods started kicking in. So not only did they give everyone forbearance, but then after that, they gave them another out. So, and we'll look at the auto industry. But guys, I don't know if you watch YouTube. I do. I rely on it for my data and research, honestly. Like it's a very good resource. And all of these images you see, these are called thumbnails, okay, for videos. They're very kind of loud and gotcha, and they want to catch your eye. But despite the way they look, and I'm going to show you several of them here, these are really smart individuals. Like this is the game of YouTube. They have to get you to click, right? But once they click, there's very smart people with a lot of really good data. So I would encourage you to go on YouTube and do your own research. But I've actually been on a Zoom call with this guy Nick. He's got a really good Reventure app. He's got a really good show. But there's a lot there. I mean, there's so many voices that have so much data. So it's not just me up here, there's a lot of people looking at the data. And then it's not just them or me, it's the word of the oracles. Like these are the top financial gurus in the country. Like who knows of Warren Buffett, right? Most people. Now, these statements were made within the last 2 years, guys. Guys, almost like between a year and a half and 2 years ago, I put these in the slide deck. This wasn't just like yesterday. So like almost 2 years ago, they're throwing up warning sign, guys, saying get ready to lose half your money. Ray Dalio, Bridgewater is the largest hedge fund in the world. This will be worse than 08. Jim Rogers, they manage about $190 billion. Okay. Mother of all crashes. And then who's seen the movie The Big Short? Yep, it's great. It's awesome, right? Homework assignment. Go watch this for your first time or watch it again because we're back. All right. And this was pretty much a movie about a financial savant, Michael Burry on the right hand side, who shorted the housing market, pushed all his chips in the middle of the table, bet against the housing market because he knew it was going to crash. He knew what mortgage brokers that guy did to our economy. No, I'm joking. But they were pushing paper, man, and they did a really good job of it. And he saw the writing was on the wall and the chickens were coming home to roost, and they did. But he's coming out again saying mother of all crashes, history ain't changed, right? Like I said, in 08, it's like watching a plane crash. So this is a guy that shorted the housing market last time, and he's already making statements within the last 2 years. So what happened? All right, we have to think about what happened. Well, it's the economy, stupid. This is a famous political statement, so I used it. So let's look at the healthy economy. And again, I think it's important to juxtapose 2008 and now. All right, like if we're gonna look at, if we think about 08, we're like, oh, 2008 couldn't happen again. Well, let's look at the economy versus 08. All right, and then let's do a raise of hands afterwards. So we see what's going on with savings and credit card. You can see where the high peaks were. Savings during COVID were high. Now look where savings are. Look where credit card debt is, right? They have totally swapped places, right? If we look at credit card debt individually, that X is roughly, let's just call that X is going to symbolize or reference 2008. Okay. Look at the credit card debt now compared to 2008. It's 5-6x, guys. That's otherwise known as 500 to 600% higher than 2008. Okay. Student loan debt, the X 2008, look where it's at. And 45% polled said they're expected to default, right? Who's going to cover the bill? We are, guys, right? We're fitting the bill. All right. 9.7 million right now are behind on payments. So everyone you're watching the news and all the college kids are bitching, whatever, and getting free education, we're paying for that. All right. And they don't plan on repaying. Auto loan debt. The X is 2008. Look where it's at. So, this is the economy, guys. We're busted at the seams. We've already busted out of our pants, right? Right. I mean, we're trying to put on the 34s and we're a 40, whatever, repos, guys, they jumped 16% in 2024, highest since 2009. And over the last 3 years, we've seen a 53% increase in repos. And I put ninja loans. So here's what happened in the auto industry. We talked about ninja loans. Knowing you would go get a loan, no, you'd have to report your income, right? You have to have a job, you have to have any assets, and you got a house back in the day. Well, this go around, you got a car. All right. So if you remember during COVID, there were no cars, you couldn't buy a boat, you couldn't buy a car. No offense, ladies, but every lady had a Louis Vuitton on her shoulder or whatever. If you didn't, I'm sorry. Trust me, I didn't get the car or the boat. So, but you looked around, you're like, what's going on? Like, people can't leave their house, they can't go to work, and all these luxury items are gone. So it was really like crazy. But in terms of cars, guys, people would go and get a car with a ninja loan. And then as soon as they drove it off the lot, they claimed COVID and get a year forbearance on their payments. So they got it for nothing. They wrote it for nothing. And then the repo market said, okay, game over. So that's why the repo market's sky high.
What is a ninja loan? Like, what is that?
It's not a loan technically. It's just like an acronym for a type of loan. So like you went to get a loan, you didn't have to report no income, which is NI. No, you didn't have to have no, okay, I'll let you finish. And no job or produce any assets. Okay, go ahead.
We didn't call them ninja loans in 2006 and 7. We called them liar loans. Where people just, no stated, no nothing, just
Yeah,
whatever they want.
yeah.
This is the first time I've heard of ninja loans, but
Oh,
it
wow.
actually makes more sense.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty common term. But I was like, when I say, listen, I was in foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, is because I was doing ninja loans, right? Now, like I was doing well my first year in real estate, but I also bought 10 homes my first year in real estate as an investor. Yeah, but I was fogging a mirror and I got a loan and I wasn't supposed to, right? Like I shouldn't have been able to get that. So that was a ninja loan. So we know everything on the left-hand side is like 500-600% worse in the economy, okay? That's why buyers aren't buying. That's why sellers can't sell. But then let's add to it the right-hand column. High interest rates. We already know that affects our market probably more than anything else, right? So you've seen the slowdown. And as a former mortgage broker or current, you know that mortgage applications are way down, right?
Getting canceled, actually.
And getting canceled, no doubt. So if you're a mortgage broker and you know them, give them a hug. Okay, they need it. Yeah, go hug that guy.
Get in.
Yeah. Okay, so, troubling sign for spring market. Now, this was back in February, which, we know. If we're gonna determine how the rest of the year plays out, we need to look at our spring real estate performance, okay? And this is like, hey, a troubling sign for spring market. Well, we know, and now we know this, is that spring was very lackluster. So we know the rest of the year is gonna be kind of like crap. Okay, so be ready for that. If spring did very well, then we'd be like, oh, okay, like, maybe the rest of the year might be okay. But this spring was not very good. High inflation, guys. The worst month in 4 years was January, and we saw a big jump in March. Now, a lot of people are reporting that inflation has stabilized, but I don't know. That's for you at the grocery store. Are you seeing that? I don't know. I know I like a certain brand of eggs and they're not going down, and I'm kind of pissed off at it. So, um, and then, we have to think about consumer spending, right? Like there's consumer spending indexes out there, but if you look no further than Walmart and what they're doing, if you think people have like a bunch of money and they're out there spending, look, Walmart's a place where people go like, let's call it what it is. If you like shopping at Publix, well, maybe now you're shopping at a Walmart supercenter, get your groceries because you're trying to catch a break, right? Or you're going to Aldi or whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But Walmart is usually a place where people can get a discount or a bargain buy. They have frozen all non-essential jobs. That's a lot of jobs at Walmart. Think about that. I don't know how you define essential, but they've closed 78 underperforming stores. They've delayed the opening of 23 supercenters. And they've eliminated pretty much 3,500 corporate positions. This isn't because the economy's kicking ass, guys, right? This is what you have to look to. And let me just say this, we'll read this statement together, or I'll read it, but the Walmart CEO, but when you like Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman, when they make a statement, every word is looked at individually, right? And it's very tailored to mean, it's very specific. And so I guarantee you, they spent time before releasing this, but he says, preparing for a prolonged period of consumer pressure and economic uncertainty through at least 2026. Guys, when you're the CEO of Walmart, you are in the know, right? You know what people's wallets look like. You know what they're gonna do before they do it, right? So, this is very telling when I saw this. Increased homeowner insurance over the last 5 years, 61% homeowner insurance has gone up, right? We know that Florida leads the union, the country in homeowner insurance by far. Increased property taxes, those have gone up 22% over 5 years. Yes, sir.
What if, now this is a big what if.
Sure.
DeSantis is talking about getting rid of property taxes, changing all kinds of obligations.
Yeah, I heard that story about 2 months ago and then he changed it. Well, I think he was,
Again yesterday, and he's pushing it again.
well, I heard that he was giving everyone like $1,000 break or something. Like it kind of like modified into that.
What would that do?
Wait, was it a full payoff still yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, good, I hope.
Whole- Everything. all of it.
Yeah, look, I
It's a
mean,
millage somewhere else.
well, they have to do something because look, let me show you, like, this was a tax bill in 2022. Now I know this house, it's over in like West Volusia County. Nothing happened to this house, but someone bought it, right? No repairs, it wasn't flipped. And that tax bill the next year went up $4,000. Okay? Now this is what's going on with property taxes, and there's some slimery going on, which I've kind of watched some YouTubes on this with like the schools tying in with the counties and getting a piece of that. And yeah, I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just saying you could look for some litigation, some class action down the
Let's
road.
say the property taxes are.
Okay.
What does that do to Florida?
Oh, I think it's a huge boost, in the arm of the economy, but, and I don't know that look, these things are escrowed over time. Like, I don't know, what, if you were
It's
to,
500 a month.
500 a month, does 500 a month, like, just boom, send us to Mars again? I'd argue no. We saw rates drop a full point last year. That's more than 500 and we didn't feel the blip.
It's car payments. I mean, there's are certain things, but it's not a boom.
You're sitting at the kitchen table, and you're like, hey, man, we don't have to pay that car payment now. Thank God, right? Okay, but that mean you're gonna buy a house? I don't know.
Yeah, you mentioned YouTube several times, like who's your go-to like top 3 people that is like a good data source for you?
Let's touch on that after, because I got some good ones for you, okay? But yeah, like Nick Gurley, Todd Sachs, like these are they're really good.
Capital Venture has a lot of good statistics.
Yeah, that's Nick Gurley. So that's him. And then you also the Sachs, real quick, the Sachs show. He's a broker out of Maryland. and he's been touching on Florida a lot. So you'll look at like Todd Sachs. I like that one a lot because they're like an hour, hour and a half long. And they really drill in. Okay. Okay, so we've looked at, and then let's look at unemployment. Guys, this stat, and when I pulled this, I showed you, the next slide was pulled a year ago. Without fail, guys, when our economy's unemployment has gone up 14%, not that unemployment's 14%, but when it's gone up 14%, without fail, guys, in our nation's history, we've gone into what's called a recession. Okay, so like it's always happened, and guys, we're at 21%. Now, for some of you who aren't fooled by the media, truth be it, we've been in recession since November 2023, because the technical term is 2 quarters of negative GDP, right? That was November 2023. So we've done that. We've already been in a recession since 2023. Now, the media and everyone's lie and change the definition around to make them look good, but we know we're there. Okay, and this data proves it. Guys, here's a website for you. Some of you might find interesting. It's layoffs.fyi. You can see what companies are laying off who and what sectors. I don't like to use the term fun, but it's interesting to go around and see like what's happening out there. But a lot of these things are happening. So what happened? Well, we know it's the economy, guys. Look, I mean, buyers can't buy, right? The demand is way down, supplies up, and prices are falling. Sellers cannot sell, and they need to sell. That's where their money's at, right? So guys, we have an affordability issue, just like in 08, where even though I could steam a mirror, I couldn't afford all those properties, right? I shouldn't, like, it was ninja loans. So here's a couple of scenarios, what's going on in your real estate market right now. One, just a regular listing, but that mortgage balance, repairs and credits, closing costs and commissions, that's gonna put your clients underwater. That's happening everywhere, especially homes that were purchased in the last 3 years. I have a lot of those files, okay? So, and that can happen to people who have older assets that refi, okay? So, you just have to figure out like, and maybe have that candid conversation with your seller or client. It's like, hey, where does this put you? You know, like, are you making money or are you bringing money to the table? Because if you have to bring money to the table, then we have to have a whole different conversation. Because that listing more than likely is going to get canceled on you and you're losing the listing. Or if you're smart enough, you can have the short sale listing conversation, preserve your 3%, put it on the market, sell it for less than what is owed on the mortgage. Make sense? All right, we'll get into that more. Now, scenario number 2, guys, there's already home sellers out there that aren't trying to sell and they're receiving the Liz pendants. Okay, they're already underwater and they want to get this gorilla off their financial gorilla off their back. A short sale allows them to sell and do that.
I would argue that FHA loans, as soon as you go in, they're pretty much underwater. Cause you're already at 96.5 LTV.
Yeah,
And then if they try to sell right after, like.
you could argue,
commissions and all
you could
that.
argue any FHA loan in the last 4 years, even ones where they got some equity, like the equity's already evaporated, you know? So guys, when it comes to foreclosures 101, just around the country, we're either a judicial state or a non-judicial. Florida is a judicial, so it has to go through the court system. It takes longer, it gives homeowners more time to go through foreclosure. That's your opportunity, okay, to work a listing, for us to do the short sale for you, okay? So when a homeowner is behind 120 days, usually that's when they're gonna receive the Liz pendants. The lender's like, hey, we want our house back, okay, and we're proceeding with what's called a foreclosure. Now, in your non-judicial states, it's more commonly known as an NOD, a notice of default. Okay, but just know here in Florida, it's called a Liz pendants. After 120 days from receiving an LP, if they just sit on that, they're gonna have a judgment hearing. And the judge is gonna give the plaintiff, the lender, a judgment in their favor. And that's when a pre-foreclosure now technically becomes a foreclosure, is when the judgment is rendered against your homeowner, the defendant. Okay? And then at that judgment, bless you, and then at that judgment hearing, they will schedule a sale date at an auction 45, 60 days out. Okay? Now, your opportunity is here, because this is a publicly. They say, so we want to eliminate that. This is a publicly recorded event. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you're a broker or team, whether you're on PropStream or Batch Leads or Remine, we're at an event. Right, that guy, his groups bought Remine. So if you're on there, you can get a list of Liz pendants, right, that are popping up. And you can talk to those home sellers. Now, I will tell you this. Show you this. I can't show it to you, but I'm gonna read it to you. This is from my top processor, file manager. So we're working a file, wait, sorry, one second. It's important. Well, anyhow, there was a thread with a listing agent, and he goes, hey, he goes, the seller received a foreclosure notice, right? He goes, it sounds like the lender's proceeding with the foreclosure despite us doing a short sale. He goes, I thought they were gonna pause the foreclosure because we were doing a short sale. And Eric, my processor, goes, yeah, that's what they told me. Let me call him. It's Carrington Mortgage, right? He's a big boy who's buying a lot of other stuff. And he called him and said, yeah, we have paused it. We're doing a short sale. So think about that, guys. Like it could go here, but you get in touch with a client, you get a listing, we can sell for less than what it's owed on the mortgage, and they're not gonna go here. The lender's pausing the foreclosure because you're doing this for them. Make sense? You got a Superman cape on right now, you know? Like you're doing them a solid. You're getting this huge financial burden off their back. The lender's pumping the brakes on the foreclosure. It's because you reached out to them and you gave them the 411 on what you can offer on a short sale, right? That's huge. That's huge. And think about this seller type, guys. Every other seller in a retail market right now, it's a scratch and sniff. Oh, if I can sell for this, we'll sell, right? And you're like, you're doing all this marketing and all these showings, and it sucks, right? Because they don't want to sell, and you know the market sucks, and you want a closing, right? Or you could deal with these sellers where their hair is literally on fire and they need a bucket of water right now. You know what I'm saying? That's a real seller, and that's a real seller solution you could bring to the table. All right.
Are they still shelling out commission in a short sale situation? Like, is it diminished, do you think? Or-
No, it's 3 and 3, and the lender's paying for the listing and the buyer side. Okay, so right now this is you guys, and right now these are homeowners. But tomorrow that can be you, and tomorrow that can be the homeowners you help. They're getting a fresh start, right? Now we're going to talk about some of the benefits to a seller and why they want to do it and why you want to do it as a listing agent. But again, let's get back into 08, guys. These are our peak years, 6 and 2022, right? And look how we tracked against 2008. We didn't quite hit the 2008 mark, but if you were to draw a line up the blue bars, we're going up, guys, right? And we're really close to 08, really close. And I would show you another graph, and I don't have it, but the auction sales are higher than they were in 08. Okay, that chart. So yes, the homes that have gone to auction already are way higher than 08. All right. So this is your opportunity, guys. These are sellers that are begging for you, right? And we're gonna see okay, so here again, nationwide in Florida, we saw a lot of foreclosures, right? In the state of Florida, we saw over 400,000 short sales processed, okay? From 09 to 15. Over 400,000 short sales were sold on the MLS as listings and closed out. And of those closed sold listings on the MLS, $3.8 billion was paid out as real estate commissions. Guys, we already talked about the difference of an M, a B, and a T. A B is a big deal. All right. That's a lot of money. So that's your opportunity. Okay. The opportunity is not just this regular run of the mill real estate right now. That's not the game right now. The game is in the distress. There's pain in the economy. Therefore, there's pain at the kitchen table. You got to figure out how to get involved with that. All right. Now, of those million in the state of Florida, 60% of those had no answer, guys. They had hair on fire and they weren't introduced to a real estate agent like you with a bucket of water. So what they do? They went to auction, they got foreclosed on. Now we know 15% of them, they say, we don't care what happens, and that's what happened. But the other 35% guys needed your help and they didn't get it. And that was another $5.8 billion lost to real estate agents. Guys, we saw the pain of the economy today versus 08. It's significantly higher, isn't it? We know that back in 08, there was a $10 billion opportunity for real estate agents. What does that opportunity look like today if the economy is 500-600% worse than it was in 08? Okay? Trying to open your eyes here. Yes, sir.
It seems to me that the general trend is gonna get worse, right? There's gonna be more short sales coming up on the market. So if you get in now, you actually might be able to get your sellers more money than you would a year and a half, or 2 years from now. Get them out, even though they still are short selling. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
What do you mean get them more money?
well, the value of the homes, the properties are gonna drop consistently, right, for the next few years. If you sell it 2025 compared to 26 or 27, that home's gonna have different values, right?
We're gonna lose a lot of equity in this down market. So if there's someone sitting on a lot of equity, yes, that's a great argument. But we're talking about people that have hair on fire, and the people you're talking about don't have hair on fire. You're trying to convince them. Guys, okay, let's talk about, there's a, I forget the gentleman's name, but he was teaching a class. He's a marketing guy. Dang it, I wish I had his name and I apologize. But he's teaching a class to everyone out here like you. And he goes, all right, guys, he goes, we're gonna open hamburger joints, stands. He goes, I'm gonna give you anything you want, and I just want one thing. He goes, so what do you want? They're like, oh, the best ingredients, right? The best location, right? Like this and that. He goes, that's great. And they're like, oh man, we're gonna crush you. And he goes, I just want one thing. He goes, I want a starving audience. Hair on fire. The people you just mentioned aren't starving. We're looking for starving people. You know what I'm saying? And if you focus on this $10 billion worth of starving people, that's all you gotta worry about. Don't worry about convincing the scratch and sniff sellers. Convincing them, guys, you don't need to convince a seller to sell in this space. They're ready. They're ready.
No objections to overcome, right?
No,
Yeah.
there's none. And we're gonna look at the benefits, okay? So guys, this is working smart, not hard.
Do you have a percentage of all those short sales that actually sold versus that later went into foreclosure? Like that they wanted to go to short sell?
No, I mean, I guess you could look at the overall pie here, you know, I mean, if they didn't sell the short sale, they went to foreclosure, right? So that's your number right there. 60%, I guess, you know. Yes, sir.
What happens to the balance? They sell lower than what they owe. What happens to that difference?
Yeah, so that's called a deficiency. And in the state of Florida, the lenders most commonly waive that deficiency. So when the lender approves a short sale, they give what's called an approval letter. In that document, it says lender hereby waives the deficiency judgment.
And that doesn't affect the seller's credit or anything.
Oh, no, a short sale definitely affects their credit, but we can talk about that, but and I think I go over this in a slide. But unlike a foreclosure, deed in lieu, or bankruptcy, where your credit gets crushed for 7 to 10 years, a short sale only stings your credit for 2 to 3 years. And I've had mortgage brokers tell me this: with good credit repair, they can be mortgage ready again in 2 to 3 years. So your client, good credit repair, they can buy from you again when they get back on their feet. Make sense? Okay. Guys, just on I-4, Tampa to Daytona, a B in real estate commissions, okay? The opportunity is right here. It's right in front of you. I already showed you the chart that's going up. You just have to go find Liz Pendon's leads, get some marketing plan together, call them, text them, door knock, whatever, okay? So let's talk about short sales 101. Typically, a short sale situations when a homeowner can no longer afford their mortgage payment. They're probably behind on their mortgage. Now, we have files where they're not behind, but they're like, hey, I'm short selling, stop paying. Okay, that's fine. They typically deal with some sort of hardship, job loss, medical, divorce, okay? And the home is underwater, meaning it's worth less than what is owed on the mortgage. Everybody clear on all that? Okay, good. So when a short sale is when a lender approves a homeowner that they can sell their home for less than what is owed on the mortgage, right? You see that example there, 300, and they sell for 250. Now, there's usually a discount for any buyer, retailer, or investor to buy a short sale. There's going to be a reason as to why they get a 50% or $50,000 discount, but sometimes there's some repairs needed. It needs a roof, what have you. Okay. The benefits of a short sales. Yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I have a question about the lenders approves. I'm working right now with a short sale that has not been approved yet by the lender.
Okay.
So just wait and approve and put it on the influence or how is?
Well, it's gotta be approved for you to have a closing. Is that what you're asking?
Yes,
Oh, yeah, so, we can talk after, or at the end of this, and we'll do a Q&A, but you can tell me like what stage it's in, and then we'll talk about that, okay? Let's wait, hold that thought till the end, okay? And then I still owe you a, YouTube channel, one more, which, yeah, yeah. Okay, so guys, the benefits to home sellers, they get sell for less than was owed. They have no out-of-pocket expenses, okay? The lender requires that the home be sold in as-is condition, so they're not making any repairs. They don't have any seller credits, right? They don't have to stress about fixing the house up, right? Baked cookies and open house balloons are gone. You don't have to do that stupid stuff either, all right? No closing costs or commissions. The lender's gonna pay for that on behalf of the seller, all right? They get to salvage your credit score, which we just discussed. They're gonna forgive the debt, at least in the state of Florida, very common. Other states, they may still come after it, but in Florida, they waive it, all right? More time in their home. We just talked about lenders pausing the foreclosure process to see the short sale through. All right, they may receive up to $10,000 in relocation assistance. That's huge. It's having nothing to rub together, as opposed to coming through the closing table, 10, 20K to close out of it, short sell it, get money in your pocket and leave. Now, disclaimer, anywhere from 0 to 10,000, okay? It's all case by case. And I tell people this on consults, it's case by case. Now, I have some homeowners that we're short selling, guys, they haven't made a mortgage payment since they bought the property 7 years ago. How that happens, I don't know, but they have gamified the system. Do you think the lender is gonna give them 10K to move out? No, no, man. Hey, you made your money, right? So it's case by case per the lender and per the situation. And they avoid neighborhood embarrassment, right? So instead of seeing a foreclosure sign in the yard or ARIA or what have you, or all their stuff thrown out on the curb, man, they get time to kind of move their stuff, what have you, right? So this is really good stuff you're bringing to a seller in need that is going through a super anxious financial situation, right? And I've been in their shoes. So this is huge.
Are they squatting? Like the 7-year guy?
I don't know. I mean, no, I mean, that the deed's in their name. They're just gamifying the system. So, I mean, yes, loosely, I guess they are. Now, here's the benefits of a listing agent, guys. Guys, the lender requires that it be listed on the MLS. That's your opportunity, right? If these are sold off market, you're out of business, or you're gonna get some, but they required, right? I'll tell you this, I have an investor brought me 2 homeowners that she's buying. Now, she's not licensed. And I work with a gentleman out of Gainesville, a KW out of Gainesville. And I say, hey, I talked to both sellers. I go, hey, these have to be listed. So I want to put you in touch with a agent that I work with who's knowledgeable in short sales. Boom, done, right? So it's pretty easy. Guys, you're not haggling over a list price, right? You have to list it, right, for less than what's owed on the mortgage. You can make it very attractive, very appealing to buyers out there. So they're not, oh, I'm only selling if I sell for this. That conversation's over. There's no haggling over closing costs or commissions. You're putting 3 and 3 on there, whatever y'all do now with your documents. But I know the lender pays 3 and 3 on both sides, okay? They pay the buyer side and lender side. There's no pre-listing repairs, which we touched on. There's no extensive marketing, guys, no open houses, right? You're not doing that. Some of the top short sale listing agents, they'll do a screen capture of a Google Street View. Boop, one listing photo, that's it. Game over. All right, and you have a client who must sell. All right, so they are the easiest listings, despite taking 3 to 6 months to close. Don't worry about that. Go, yeah, but go get, but if I say go get 100 of them. Here, guys, let me,
lay it out.
yeah,
What?
yeah, but if you got 100 of them, now I showed you guys a while back that of a lot of properties we bought, 450 of those were short sales, right? Well, we're investors, and a lot of investors back in the day are like, oh, we don't want to buy short sales because we can't buy them fast cash or buy within 30 days. So we're not touching those. My theory was, let's go lock up or put contracts on all of them. And then 3-6 months hit and boom, and that's why we were doing 40-60 closings a month. Okay. Is because they finally came due, the fruit started showing on the tree and we ate. All right. So you as a listing agent can do the same. You can go get 100 of these, and in 3 months, you're popping. You're popping shit, it's a pie, you're popping champagne, you know? So, you're here, but you can be there. Quick, quick. Yep. Don't understand short sales, no problem, guys. Take the course. We created a free course for you, the short sale roadmap. All right. That's your QR code. Sign up for free. I'm not asking anything from you. Okay. I guess the only ask is that if you have a client in need, let me do a free, awesome consultation with you and your client, 30-minute phone call. And let me help you lock up that listing agreement for you, okay? And then let me do the processing. Yes, sir.
Can you explain your role again, since I missed the first 15 minutes?
My role?
Yeah,
Well, I'm just the owner of the company.
okay.
So yeah, so I'm, having been a part of over 700 successful short sale transactions, knowing it from every angle, I'm probably that best person to answer any question you or your seller have on that consult. If you have a regular listing that looks like it's going to convert to a short sale listing, I'll help you kind of on that conversation, put the seller at ease. If you have a seller that just needs to go straight into a short sale listing, I will help put that seller at ease, make them feel very warm and comfortable about the situation, and they're in good hands. Okay. So on these consults, guys, as the owner, I just like to do those phone calls myself because I can just answer anything. Yes, sir.
So, sorry for the ignorance, so you mediate it pretty much, like you help mediate that process?
We facilitate the process.
Okay,
Yeah, with a lot of experience and knowledge behind the
but that
scenes.
doesn't impact any of the realtors' commissions, I think that's what the concern is.
Oh, no, you guys get your 3%.
Alright,
I have a processing fee. We'll touch on that.
okay,
Right, that the lender or buyer pays. So your commission and my fee are totally separate.
now
Yeah.
we're friends.
Yeah.
Now it's cool.
Now it's cool. Yes, ma'am.
That's creative finance?
No,
It's not.
no, but I will, I know that space well as well. So yeah, we can talk about that. But yeah, guys, there's 22, there's a bunch of lessons in there. I mean, so you don't know how to process short sale? No problem. Guys, just like any A team in real estate, right? You want your best mortgage broker. You want the best title company, contractor, appraiser, right? Guys, we just want to be the short sale processing arm of your team. And I can assure you, there's not a better A team than us. All right, you can see there's some passion, there's some maniacal behind the scenes over here, So we want to make sure, like, I fight for every deal. And if I see you're kind of lazy or you're not doing, I'm telling you, like, why aren't you doing this? Like, I've literally kind of gotten arguments on the phone because I've got 2-3 months of work in this and I have an agent that wants to throw up their hands. I'm not going to let you do that, right? I'm going to try to save this deal. One, as a brokerage owner and a licensee, I want to keep the deal going, Now I'm not getting your commission. We'll show you this. I mean, you guys make way more than I do when you have a closing, all right? But I don't like seeing deals die, all right? Yes, sir.
Oh, I was gonna wait, I'll wait till the end.
Okay.
Q&A.
All right, so guys, we just want to be the processing arm of your team. So when you're talking to sellers, you're like, hey, you're in this situation. You think you're available for a consultation with our short sale team? And they're like, sure. You go to our website, schedule a consult. I put everything at ease. You lock up your listing agreement, you're done. So guys, we want you to work smart, not hard. Okay. If you were to do these yourself, and if you're processing this yourself, your short sale, cool. It's fun, isn't it? Yeah. So you would probably only do like 5 or 6. You would sit behind a computer, you pull your hair out, be on the phone all day. It sucks. Processing short sales sucks, guys. Okay. It's like chasing late paying tenants and dealing with leaky toilets. But if you're kick ass at it and you can do a good volume of them, there's a business model here. Okay. So I do that. All right. It's not fun. All right. Like there's a lot of times I wish I was just on the transaction side. But so stupid is as stupid does. We don't want you being stupid. Just hand it over to us. A lot of experience. We're a professional service and we do it for free. Why would you want to do it? So again, there's no max with that smile on your face. You go get 100 listing agreements lined up 3 months down the road. We're doing all the heavy lifting. Okay. All that. Do what you're good at. Shaking hands and kissing babies. Okay. Get 100 listing agreements signed. Use a free, 100% free short sale price service. We have an 85% close rate. You in the back doing it yourself. Right now, you have about a 55% chance of actually getting your file closed. Okay. No fault of your own. You only know what you know. But the things that you don't know to do are creating you with only 55% close rate. We have an 85%. The other 15%, something's just out of our hands. Seller goes crazy, lender goes crazy. We just like, we're trying, but we have 85%, so it's good. And if you need help on that file, you let me know. Alternatives to professional processing, again, you can use a law firm. They're gonna charge a heavy upfront retainer fee. They're gonna have monthly fees after that. They only delay the sale, and a foreclosure defense attorney has one of two options. Like 8 months down the road, guys, the judge is gonna be like this. Hey, man, we've done this, for 8 months. You gotta do something. And he's like, okay, so I'm not extending it anymore. And the attorney's like, okay, so this is why foreclosure defense attorneys, this is their shtick. They also do bankruptcy, because then they drag them through for 8 months, then they get paid to roll them into a bankruptcy. So they can do a bankruptcy or kick it back out as a short sale. So this is the conversation you need to have with homeowners. We're like, oh, I'm getting an attorney. Like, okay, good. But just know that your attorney only has two options at the end of it, and you're gonna spend a bunch of money. So I can save you that 7,000 to the attorney right now by just helping you out with what they're gonna do, okay? So that's an attorney. Short tail goes us. And then there's title companies. Look, I love Mr. Jim or Miss Betty at the title company, but they're good at title. They don't do this. We talk to lenders all day, every day, right? We have relationships. We know how to zig and zag. I don't do title. I might be able to figure it out, but I don't want to do it and I don't want to become good at it. And neither, they don't want to become good at short sale processing. So in terms of your A team, let them do title. If you bring us the deal, we process it, and you've got a title company, we work with them. And they love us. You know why? Because they ain't got to do what we do. And what we do sucks. Okay, so they're happy. They're happy they don't have to do it. And a lot of title companies are like, oh, we'll do the processing because we get the closing. They don't want to do that. They'd rather just get the closing. So let us handle it, right? So big no to them, big yes to us. Again, guys, we're licensed, we're certified, we're all that. We're 100% free service. Again, so over several hundred successful closings, short sale files, right? We get approved and closed. We don't get paid unless your listing closed, guys. We'll do 3 to 6 months of work. If it doesn't close, we don't get paid. I was on a file last year for a year and a half because of the legal hurdles. Never closed, never got paid. It sucks, but it's just part of the game, Yes, ma'am.
So that payment is on the listing side, but how it is when you are representing the buyer side? How is the payment for you?
I don't get paid on the buyer side. Now, if I bring a buyer to the table, if you need a buyer, I can bring a buyer. Okay, if it's like more of an investment property, then yeah, I'll represent the buyer. That's fine. If you have your own buyer or you're dealing with someone else, I don't need to be the buyer or buyer agent. That's not my concern. My concern is just processing your files. If I can help you in that representation side, fine, So, but again, in any of this, I'm never taking money out of your pocket. Okay. If you're the listing agent or you're the selling agent, that's your money. I don't touch that. Okay.
How do you get paid?
We charge a processing fee. It's paid out on the HUD and the lender pays it or the buyer, one or the other. Now, guys, we're the hub to all the spokes. In a short sale transaction, there can be a lot of parties. Guys, we know who they are, what they need to do, when they need to do it. Okay. This is why Miss Betty or the attorney who doesn't care, that's why they're not your best fit. All right. We are. All right. What's that? That's right. Guys, if there's a photo that best describes short sale processing, it's this. Everyone's looking at us. Hey, what's going on? Why isn't it done? Can you dig faster? Tell me what's going on. This is it, guys. And I got to be really nice and sweet to everyone, or our team does, and so we dig that hole with a smile. All right. So how do we get paid? We charge a processing fee. Who pays for the lender or the buyer? How much is the fee? Okay, guys, let me see if that's on the next slide. Okay, so I'll tell you this, and we'll look at this. Our fee is $4,950. Okay, some of you are like, whoa, that's a lot. I've had agents like, that's too high. Guys, on a $200,000 property, you're making $6,000. You make more than me, and I do everything. You go to the bathroom, I follow you in there, I clean things up, and you walk out. Okay, that's in a really bad way of saying it, but we do everything, guys. All right, and you're the ones just shaking hands, kissing babies, getting paid, and that's just on a $200,000 house. So I've had agents that came to me and like, hey, will you reduce your fee? This. I'm like, hard no, hard pass on that. We are firm. If you want to reduce your commission to help the deal out or the buyer agent, y'all do what you do. But we always make our fee. Yes, sir.
Why would they actually reduce the fee if the
I'm sorry?
The banker buying is paying your fee, right? Why would a listing agent actually do?
Well, sometimes the lender has a certain net that they want to receive and the offer is only a certain amount. And so they need to bridge that gap to make a deal happen. So they're like, hey, will you reduce our fee to help out? I'm like, no, like, sometimes these agents were making like 10, 12 grand each on the commission. And they're coming to me and I've done everything. I'm like, no, y'all go over there and have a little meeting on your own, like, and I hate to say it like that, but guys, I tell you, like, trust me, the normal file has a 55% close rate. We have 85% because we know what we're doing and we do everything. So I know that's worth your commission. So I've talked to agents. This is where I've kind of gotten onto them like, you're making $10,000. You can't help out $1,000. You want to make zero versus 9,000. You're not thinking clearly right now, So if you get stupid, I'll help remind you like,
For example, my seller listed on the agent listed the 4,900, I guess it's working with you.
oh, okay.
I guess because she has exactly.
Are you the buyer agent?
Yes.
Oh, okay. What file?
What is the number or?
No, what's the address?
520 Clarion.
Oh, Clarion Oaks.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, got you.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had that file for a while. Yeah. Yeah, so the buyer pays that.
Yes.
So if we're working with your buyer signed our document, we have a buyer disclosure, the buyer signed saying, yes, I understand this is how it lays out, it works, and if the lender does not pay, I cover that cost as a closing cost. So, yes, ma'am.
So that's a flat fee across all price points?
Well, it's or 1%, whichever's higher. So like right now, we just started a file for like $900,000, 1% of that, so we make 9. Yeah, and so, yeah, and that doesn't happen a lot. So those are nice days for
Plus,
us.
didn't you say the lawyer costs $7,000 or $8,000?
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, again, like if I've bought, and the only reason I talk about like buying short sales, because I know how to help buyers get these things approved. So if a buyer goes in with an offer for X, and I can help that buyer walk away with like pretty much a discount and get that approved, because we know how to zig and zag, isn't that worth like our fee? Like, I mean, as opposed to maybe a wholesaler selling it to them or then what, like, we're bringing a lot of experience on helping them get their offer approved. So, and that in turn helps your listing get closed. So guys, just focus on listing agreements, get those signed and we will knock them down. Okay? Yes.
Is there any paperwork as a listing agent that we need to provide to you, or
Yeah.
we just?
Yeah. And so just keep in mind, guys, when you start a file with us, we send out emails. I'm creating these video tutorials, like you'll get a video, explaining everything, what you need. But yes, we provide listing guidance, public remarks, realtor remarks, listing attachments, what I need from you, all that. Again, when we talk about being a professional processing service, it's because I'm constantly trying to become as efficient as possible. Where can we save time? What don't we need? Can we consolidate these 2 docs into one? Constantly, guys, okay? So this is how you start a file. You go to our website, shortsalesstart.com. Can't get any easier than that. 0 brain damage. You can schedule a consultation with me. That's a 30-minute call with you and or your seller. Again, you have questions about if it's just you after this, and like I was at Ray Lopez's office and I got 2 consults and they just had more questions after this. Okay, cool. Let's jump on a call. If I can help you strategize your business or get clarity on what after this meeting, that's gonna bring me business. That's a quid pro quo, that's a win-win, so let's do it, okay? Like, don't sleep on that consult. Don't think you're being a pain in my ass or bothering me. It's worth it to me, okay? It's worth it that you go out and find these people in need and let's help them, all right?
Can we
So-
harass you for free?
No. And then, you do, I'm stealing that hat. Yeah, so new file starts, guys, at FAQs, a lot of good FAQs on there, okay? Guys, again, you schedule a consult, you introduce them to me, let's bring them out to the 5-yard line. We do every run down the field for you, all right? This is beautiful, like, these are complex files, these are legal matters. We do everything. You run it in. All right. Client agent consultations, we'll engage with the lender, we'll prepare the lender package, it's case by case per lender, but it's a lot of this and that and certain requirements. We facilitate parties to the agreement, so we handle all documents and communications, and then you close, all right? You press the button, and then you get paid. Right?
So this eliminates the need to have a TC, what are you saying?
Okay, no, that's a good question. We are not your TC. We are the TC of the short sales, so we report, like, hey, here's this, I need this. So I'm not, like, if you're a listing agent, I'm like, hey, we need this. You and your team go to this. We work with a lot of TCs, okay? And those are actually our most successful files, because we're like a TC dealing with another TC, and it's beautiful harmony going on, okay?
Additional fees for that?
That's between you and your TC, not for us.
Pay them separate.
Yeah.
The initial consult though, like, let's say we introduce you to a client, is that consult free to determine if it's like a good fit for you?
100%, it's free. Yeah, that's what I told you. If you have a listing right now that may convert,
Yeah.
or a homeowner that may wanna do it, get them on a call. Guys, I will lock up your listing agreement from a regular to a converted short sale, or a homeowner just is thinking about a short sale. If you don't understand like the best way to pitch this or understand all the benefits, don't do that, because you're gonna mess it up. Do a consult. After 2 or 3 consults with me, now you're doing consults on your own, okay? Right? Just do the exercise 2 or 3 times with me, and then you're golden after that, all right? So, guys, any kind of help you need, don't sleep on this. I stress this, I'm stress this, right? It's a free phone call for you, right? That's my time I'm giving away, which I gladly will do, and I'm stressing it, please schedule, all right? Yeah, so that's our website. If you need the QR code, that's there, but you can just simply go to nobraindamage.com. All right. Guys, you can follow us on social. Same handle, short sale start. We post some good stuff. I need to do more, and I promise I am, but top 5 seller talking points. And then look, I mean, what's a good starting list price? I mean, that was a great post, right? So, and that's, you just follow us on social for that. Guys, also, we have a,
Facebook group.
yeah, Facebook group. No, that's our GPT I created. So this guy, this little weirdo looking guy, his name is Shorty, and he already knows way more about short sales than I do. So you can go into now you have to have a Chat GPT account, they're free. But you go search for Shorty, and you can ask him anything, and he will give you answers about short sales, okay? Yeah, and now I'm making him better and better and better every week. So not only does he already have a good understanding of general information, but now I'm tweaking specifically, so. But you go to our Facebook group, join, and you have the access to Shorty in there, okay?
I just subbed your YouTube channel, now has 350 subs.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, no, but you know what, that's been around for like 4 years, so, or 3 years, and we haven't done much on it. But anyhow, we're getting there.
Yeah.
So anyhow, guys, this is it. This is the last slide. Short sale start, that's our website. Find us on social, okay? Go to our Facebook group, you have access to Shorty. I think this is a good time to get in some Q&A. Yeah, that was about an hour and a half, so that's not bad. Yeah, who wants to go first?
Do we request the short sale package, or is it something that you guys handle?
Yeah, so that's the lender package. We do all that. Yeah. Guys, in the beginning, I'm gonna ask for some listing docs from you. I'm gonna get with your seller. I'm gonna get a few docs from them, right? Get them papered up with our company, disclosures, acknowledgements. And then when you get a buyer, we're just getting the buyer docs and we're putting it together. Okay, now between the seller and the lender, we're doing some other documents, with them. As far as you, in the very beginning from you, all our ask is for a listing agreement, the short sale addendum to the listing agreement, right? And then the copy of the MLS sheet, broker synopsis, done. Boom. Now you're chilling, man, until you get a buyer, right? That's it. That's it. That's how you do a consult. You give me those 3 things, I'm dealing with your seller, you're gold, right? You have a TC at that point, Mhm. Yes, sir.
I only have like 5 questions for you.
It's fine.
All right, geez. You can probably answer them if you haven't already, I might have been spaced out or zoned out or daydreaming, but first one is, how long ago did you start LMS? And for what reason did you, I guess what I'm asking, what made you start this also, and how long ago? Was it, did you see the need, and did you even create this whole business, you know what I'm saying, like?
Yeah.
Did you create your own market?
Yeah, so I told you in the beginning, like I was a seller so I bought my first short sale in 2005, my first personal home ever was a short sale, and I did that 2005. Then I was high on the hog in real estate and then I crashed and burned. So I had to short sale some of my own properties. Okay. And then when I opened that brokerage, ended up buying a lot of them. So I was involved in a lot of those transactions. So I just saw it from so many different angles and I just learned so much that I knew this market was gonna come back around. And so in 2008, I had my eye on it. And in 2020, I want to say that I officially incorporated LMS because I knew this was coming and I wanted to create a service for agents and the homeowners. And so, but enter COVID, funny money, stimulus, forbearances, that put the brakes. Think about what that does to a short sale business. Puts water on fire, right? So I had no business. And so that sat around for two. So finally in 2022, I started hitting the circuit, started seeing the forbearances ending, stuff like that. And so here we are, 2-3 years later.
Now, were you the only game in town? Or do you have a competitor?
Title companies and attorneys.
That's it.
I mean, there might be some other processing companies, but like, guys, when you think of processing companies, there's like more like mom and pop shops, okay, doing this. I'm trying to create like a bona fide institutional company that does this.
Franchise this out easily. So my last question is, and the way I remember it is Elizabeth has pendants. So Liz pendants, do you provide those?
Provide
to the
what?
Sellers, Liz pendants, notifications, short sales or lists of homes that are in foreclosure.
Oh, okay, no, okay, got you. No, do not. So, but again, there are websites, batch leads, prop stream, okay,
Wait, they're all writing it down. So, batch leads?
batch leads. And that might be .io, so you'll just have to Google that. There's prop stream. These are third-party lead sites that investors use. Or there's Remine, which was typically part of your MLS until they kind of went bankrupt and got repurchased, which I think now they're throwing it out for a fee. But I would say this. I know that Rich works with Magnolia Title very closely, and yes, and Chelsea over there will provide leads possibly. So I don't know what she works out with. You guys figure that out, but I just know as a title company, it behooves them to give you leads because that brings in closings, right?
Would it be any title company for that matter? They could have them, just not only Magnolia downstairs?
No, I think that's a paid service that they want to pay and provide to you. So I don't know, maybe downstairs does want to do that.
Yeah.
If they're smart, they would do it, but not many business owners are smart, right? And not many real estate agents are smart.
Oh, and by the way, forgive me if I'm wrong, thank you for service.
For what?
Military?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, my family, but not me. No, no. But no, that's good stuff. But you guys, in real estate, back in 2008, nationwide, 33% of all agents were out of the game, right? They didn't have that other club. I was talking to my buddy in Jacksonville, 65% of licensees were out of the game. Okay? A lot of faces you see around here are gonna be out of the game unless you grab the other club. You gotta grab the other club, guys. You gotta do it, right? If I was your team lead, I'm hammering you,
72% of realtors last year didn't sell anything.
Yeah, we touched on that, 90% this year. So, yeah, you relate, but yeah, we touched on that.
That's great.
I know that you compare with 2008, but have you also thought about comparing with the 1980s where it was higher inflation for longer?
Mhm.
Because also, Jerome Powell, he's on his way out and the president's gonna, put his nominee. And I think I just read an article today saying that, the president's trying to lower rates.
Sure.
As well, and he
Yeah.
needs that.
Yeah.
So I think, that like there was an article projecting that it was gonna be 6 to 7 rate cuts next year, but who knows? If it's president appointed, most likely,
Yeah,
but Jerome Powell seems like he's hesitant.
we'll see. I don't think honestly, you have to, like, if you drop rates again, it's just, it's a short-term fix. It's a Band-Aid again. We're putting a Band-Aid on the situation. Like,
It just eases financing.
that's
what
it.
it does.
That's it.
It's not gonna correct all the other.
It's just another form of quantitative easing. And the problem is like in 08 with all that, they put a Band-Aid on it. They bailed everyone out, put a Band-Aid on it. That wound is still here today. And they're gonna put more gauze on it, or they're gonna rip it open and let it bleed out. And unfortunately, and for our economy and to get really healthy, we have to bleed out first. We have to bleed out first, I've seen reports on the rates. I've seen that they're going up. I've seen that they're going down. I also know that, I don't know if this was a slide y'all missed, but last year rates went down almost a full point. It didn't move the market a blip. Okay, so right now the economy is getting worse. So whoever comes in, I mean, chances are they're gonna drop it 25 basis points. I don't know if they drop it a full point, or even gonna see a blip again. I don't know.
Well, the article said that the target was 2.5, 2.75. Around there, and right.
But that's gonna be out over 6 drops.
Yeah, over time.
I don't know that's gonna help, but we'll see, man. It's just speculation at this point, but I know there's a lot of people hurting today. And if you talk about 6 rate drops, you're probably spanning that out over the next 2 years, possibly. I mean, and there's just a lot of pain.
If they deal with the property tax and the homeowners insurance.
Yeah.
Rates go down.
It's still high. It's still high, right? So, it's not good for home buyers out there, which sucks for home sellers. And they're gonna like, if we saw those prices drop over 50% back in the day. We compared the economies. I mean, I think we're gonna be a healthy 30% at a minimum, this go around. That's a lot of lost equity, right? That's a lot of lost equity. So I just think, that's tough stuff.
When you project like yourself, like that 30% loss in equity, do you think it's gonna be like 2027? 2020?
I think next year is a really good time to buy, but I would say towards the back half of the year. I think if you're looking at a good bottom, it's probably Q4 26.
That's what the Walmart guy was saying,
Yeah,
the end of 26.
yeah, it could be Q1 of 27, but, I mean, look, guys, I rent because I didn't want to pay the prices.
Do you still have the houses though?
I sold all those in 18. Sold them on 18 because I thought that was the top of the market. You know why? Is because I saw, you know what? Here's why I sold them all. Because I saw every listing going highest and best and going 20, 50 grand over listing. I was like, here it is. So before the market crashes, I'm selling everything. And I did. But then what happened? COVID.
The pandemic
The
happened.
COVID. So we had 2 more years of funny money, which I lost out a lot of high equity there. No one could predict that, but had I waited, could almost doubled my exit, but, no, I'm not a landlord any longer, and, I hope I never am.
What if you were a landlord again, would you use the arm's length transaction with a property management company, or would you just not even do it at all?
Oh, we had PM on everything. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not doing it myself. No, you gotta buy it. If you're buying a rental property, you should be buying them smart enough to incorporate property management, because if you have rental properties, I think you said, yeah, if you're managing yourself, yeah, it sucks. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, and that's good. Yeah, I will tell you this, anyone that gets into real estate investing and they wanna buy a rental property. Initially, and I did this, I had trial and error, you do it on the cheap first, you're like, oh, I don't have to put a lot into it, I can rent it. But you learn that the maintenance is the gift that keeps on giving, and you get crappy tenants and low rent, instead of just saying, you know what, I'm gonna make this thing awesome, I'm gonna get a great tenant, high rent, and never get called. That's the smart way, but that means you gotta buy it right, and you gotta buy it with PM, which is property management. So there's levels to every game, and I was a rookie once upon a time, and now if I bought a rental, it would be trying to get a top tenant.
I try to stay away from the lower end because that's more.
Yeah, no doubt. And I've had them all, high and low, and, I've had a lot of Section 8, and as much as I like being paid by the government, I also, well, had this sweetheart of a mom, and she had 4 kids. And that storm screen door just got worked, right? In Section 8, I was like, I didn't get their money. Like, oh, you gotta fix that screen door. I'm like, and then they're like, oh, the screen's off the back window. So it's like, any little thing that happens, the government's not looking to pay you. So, it's one of those things, like, I don't know. It's, but Section 8's awesome. I mean, I know guys have 30 of those rentals, yeah, they're crushing it, but, maybe they have a better system than I did back in the day. But what other questions, guys?
Back to short sale. So, what is the advantage to the seller? I don't know if you've touched on it already. but-
Yeah, let me see if I can go back to that slide, guys. Don't judge on my desktop. No judging. Hey, no judging. I'm trying to cover that. You know, guys, when you have to do your own marketing and you're in Canva a million times, you gotta save something.
Gotta organize something, like.
Stop.
Folders.
Fastest way.
This is mine in this place, I'm not gonna change it.
You're right.
Is this to you, the listing agent?
Yes.
Okay, there's your, yeah, that's it. I mean, what, like, are you talking about a seller? Why does this?
Traditional,
Like, why would this, I think her question is like, why would the seller go?
With my company?
We don't have to deal with an attorney though.
No, I think it's different.
So the seller's taking he asked me to take the property off the market, so temporarily.
Why?
Because he wants to, it's been 120 days,
Yep.
so he wants it off the market, so he's still on the contract, you know, but, how can?
So I think that's a conversation you can have of like, hey, listen. What's like, do you need to sell for like, what do you need to sell for to make money or to break even? Right? He's like, well, I was at that price, you know, like, and it wasn't selling. Oh, okay. So you gotta sell for less than that then, right?
We produced it twice already.
Yeah. Sounds like you got a short sale cannon on your hand. You guys.
He says he can maintain it, you know, he has another property and he's paying only 1,200 a month. For this property that's on the market, well, that was on the market. So, yeah, he's saying he can maintain both properties, he's not in a hurry to sell.
So it doesn't have to sell.
He doesn't have to sell.
Oh, well, you did
Then
it.
he's not, yeah.
And he's talking about, move on, girl.
Yeah, so again, so here's the thing, so. Those are fun, right? Because they're just scratching and sniffing as opposed to having a hair on fire, so. Just think about if you were dealing with 10 sellers who had to sell. Right, that's a much,
You all the time.
that's a better business model, right? You want that starving audience. He's not starving,
He hasn't.
but if he wants to sell, talk to me after, I'll give you a website. Yeah, that's it, guys, if you, I will throw this out there and I should.
You people.
I should put a slide on this, but if you have a distressed property or someone wants to sell, I'm a buyer, I have buyers, okay? Like if it's something that can be done outside of a short sale or off market or whatever, you still get paid, great.
Would that be creative financing?
It could be creative or cash deal. I can offer both ways to your clients.
The creative financing.
So it can be
He knows
cash.
How much he wants.
Well, it can be cash, but that cash has to produce what's called an ROI, return on investment. A lot of sellers are, even if they're investors, like, oh, I wanna sell for this, well, that's cool. Like it made money back when you bought it for 100,000, but now you want 350 and the ROI is gone. Right, so we gotta come back down to earth and get, so,
Necessary upgrades. And once.
yeah. Todd Sachs, Nick Gurley, right, we talked about that. I think it's Sachs Realty, like, that's probably my, him and Nick, which is Reventure app is my favorite, and then, let me.
Said Nick Gurley,
Yeah, just go to Reventure app,
That
venture app.
Reventure.
yeah, Reventure.
really.
I'm pretty excited.
You know what, I'll tell you this, just start with those two, cause they're really good, and you'll obviously get
No, like,
similar, like, yeah. Yeah, those are really good. And listen, the data is really good. Like, I mean, it's so telling. That's why I can come in here with a ton of conviction and confidence and talk to you like this, cause I know it's happening, it's here, the data's real, And I get it all from them. So I'm just a nerd and I put it all together. So
What is the longest that you have had a short sale
what's that?
to be approved by a lender? What is the longest period that you have had with one of these?
I mean, it's been over a year.
A year?
Yeah, cause here's what happens, guys. When the lender receives an offer, when they're looking at the offer, they'll do what's called a BPO, right? A broker's price opinion. And if some less than knowledgeable person provides the value back to the bank and does it too high, there's a huge gap in between the buyer offer and what the seller wants. Well, the lender's not gonna order another BPO for another 6 months. So sometimes that's called a value dispute. Sometimes we've done multiple re-BPOs, which put us over a year.
Failure, if the seller is living in the property.
The seller gets to chill. The seller's still living in the property, mortgage free. Yeah, again, one of the benefits, it gives them more time in the home, right?
They pause the foreclosure.
Look, I wanna get these done in 90 days. I'm hustling these files. But if it just so happens these take 6, 8 months and it benefits the seller, okay, fine. But the seller needs to know like, hey, this thing's ready to close, you gotta go.
What is happening with client? That's a good property, so that, but the termite.
You should, well, I'm sure you've received an email from Eric or some, but I would say get with Eric, or I can tell Eric to send you an email. You know, I don't wanna put our CRM on here, but I can look at your file after this, you know? Okay,
Cool.
Yeah.
So where are you based out of?
we're in Maitland. Yeah, so, little ways from
And
here.
the best way of contact is to go onto the website, schedule a consult.
Yeah. Guys, you schedule a consult, and again, schedule a consult. We'll exchange information. I can send you that now, but if you schedule a consult, I'm sure to like get in touch with your sellers, you know, you start a file. It's really easy. Guys, I would just tell you this, if you go on MLS right now and you pull only listings that are 100+ days on the market, so many of those are candidates for short sale. So many of those, you know, huh?
They're everywhere. It's like the average day on market right now,
Yeah,
you're hitting that anyway.
yeah. So and a lot of them are busting at the seams, you know?
And another question about that is, I see she's asking for like your own forms, like LMS, disclosure and these particular forms. Do you use like some particular forms?
Yeah.
Or do-
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if they deal with our company, I've drafted and created all of our forms. They have to sign those. Like not only the seller, but the buyer.
Cause she's asking for it for us to do it, but I was like, what's an LMS of that?
Who's asking for it?
The agent.
The listing agent.
Yeah.
I have to see what's going on with the file. I'm not sure. There might be something that the bank is asking for or something. I'm not sure, but. Mhm. Yeah. Oh, okay, awesome. Okay, cool.
There's no pen.
Um. Yeah, they're just. I mean, again, you just wanna find that starving audience, guys. It's out there. And I showed you that chart. I mean, there's so many. So, if you're looking for. An opportunity, this is it. This is it. This is the market we're in. It's not the luxury market. That's starting to crack. Yes, I've seen there's data coming out about that now. Remember, it's like, oh, the luxury side, the 1%, like that's always gonna be strong and hanging on. That's cracking right now.
So the only bad side for the seller is like the credit. The 2 or 3 year credit, like that gets affected, but there is no more bad side, or there is any other things that we need to keep in mind for.
I can't think of a bad side. They get to walk away from, you know, a lot of debt. Yeah,
Their hair's on fire.
literally. Well, not literally, but yeah, I mean, in the most figurative way, you know.
They need.
Thank
to
you.
put it out.
What's that?
They need you to put it out their hair, you know, like extinguish that fire.
It's there, you know, so, I mean, look, at the end of the day. I consider this a blue ocean opportunity, cause here's what I know, look, hey, can everyone listen to this? Running teams, hiring teams, I know that 20% are actually only gonna do something with this information, and that's sad. Like, let's call it what it is, maybe there's 9 of you in here, but if there's 10, only 2 of you are actually gonna do something with this. That's the stats, right? The average stats. I hope all of you do something with it, but. You know, that's the reality of me coming to this and doing this presentation, I'm like, oh, you know, I might do something with just a couple of you, you know? Just is what it is. So, but I say that to kind of give you notice, like, hey, don't be one of the 80%, be in the top 20, right? And that's just in an office in general, you know, 20% of any office is kind of doing the closings, the other 80% are just hoping they can do some closings, you know? So if you want to look, I was a 0, and I think I've done some hero stuff in real estate, but I was a 0. All right. This can 100% put you at the very top of this office as a hero, you know?
That's
More-
exciting.
100%.
How many units have you done?
Like anyone that's big in this office, anyone that's kicking ass this office over the last 4 years. They will be looking up at you if you drill into this.
How many units have you done since like the inception of your real estate career, you'd say? Cause I think you said you started in like 2015.
Well, I've done a lot of them since 2005, you know, so, I mean, we've done over 100. Yeah, in terms of LMS,
Yeah,
yeah,
but like for you personally, how many transactions have you done?
over 700, yeah, over that. Yeah, so,
Your hair?
not all of it, girl. Yeah, yeah. Hey, you know, like, well, I'd say I like X's and O's, you know, I like figuring stuff out and how efficient can we be? So I will tell you this, guys, like, in terms of efficiencies, I mean, again, like an attorney might say, oh, we need this today, and then tomorrow, like, oh, we need that. Maybe I just say, hey, we need this once, and you get everything done at one time. Like, we're just constantly trying to find that 5% that we're not good at, you know, and trying to make it better. So I think that's the strength of any business model. So just like, again, we want to be part of your A team, okay? And if your appraiser sucks, get a new one, you know? If your title sucks, get a new one, but you should always be trying to level up your A team, you know? Yeah, so anyhow, we hope to be that for you guys.